Alright, since this Sportster, I'm going to call it a drag bike because it's what it's going to be, really. Pretty much stocker drag bike. Been sitting for a while. I pulled the cams out. The oil pump drive gear isn't horrible. Yeah, it's got a little bit of wear to it. I can feel it down on the where it mates up to the on the drive gears. Very slight amount of wear, so we'll probably put the bronze gear in there just to be safe. On this pinions here, the Harley torque spec on them things is ridiculously low. I'm not pulling it off there right now, but I'll show you in the future. The only thing basically holding that thing is clamp load. Yeah, it does have a key in it, but they call it a T key, so it only engages the oil pump drive and pinion gear very, very, very small amount with the key. And the key really ain't holding nothing. It's just a locator, really. Anyway, you need to use a tool to hold the crank while you're loosening that nut. We're going to torque that back to about 70 to 80 foot-pounds. Like I said, Harley torque spec is like 30, 35, 40, 45, somewhere right around 40, I think, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I've looked at torque spec on it. But going from memory, that's about what it is. 91, first year or two. First year or two, they had a problem with some of them. If you put any much of a load on it with springs or anything, it would actually, and leave it at the stock clamp load, it would actually shear the key and wreck a bunch of crap when it did it because it'd throw the cam timing out. So pretty much right off started torquing them to, I think originally I torqued them to like 50, 60 foot-pounds. And since then, I've gone up to torque them more than that, torque them like 70 to 80 foot-pounds with red Loctite on the nut. To drain the sump at the back of the sump here, let me get down on the ground so I can show you. At the back of the sump up under here, right in front of that little bar right there, there's a little pipe plug that goes in there. That little pipe plug right there. Little 827 pipe plug. It uses 3/16 Allen to get it out. Now, if you can't get it out originally, because sometimes they're in there pretty tight, take a heat gun and heat it up a little bit right around there. And to try and break it loose like that, don't just sit there and yank on it, because if you strip it out, you ain't never getting it out. But you're going to drain it out. Now, that had a lot of oil in it because it had been sitting for a while. You really, if the bike, you've been riding the bike, get out of here. Get. If you've been riding the bike for a while, take it out and ride it for a while, 20, 30 minutes, get it good and hot. Then come and pull that plug and check it. You should have probably no more than 6 to 8 ounces of oil in there, really, at any time, once it's heated up and been running. Get the fuck out of here. Once it's been running. On a drag bike, or any kind of bike really. I can't remember when they did this, what year, but this oil pump, they upgraded sometime in the late 90s, maybe 2000. They added an extra trough down there at the top of it. If you see where it's kind of cut away right there, there's a cavity right there that feeds into the oil pump, so it actually sucks oil out of the gear case too. So it'll increase the size of the return gears on this pump. So if you need an oil pump, well, pretty much the only you're going to get, because they superseded it to this part number. Get the later pump if you're having problems with too much oil in your bottom end when it's after it's been run, not when it's been sitting for a week or two and it fills up because it's leaking past the little check ball that's in there. Good design though. Good idea. Originally back in the 883 series, racing those, that the bottom ends would fill up with oil after 4 or 5 laps. Because remember, this is a high volume, low pressure system, so it dumps a lot of oil through the oil pump. The higher you rev it, the more oil it dumps in there. So originally the AMA came out and sent out a update letter that you could take the pump apart and cut the feed gears down to an 1/8 inch. I think they were 250 thousandths, or you basically you cut them in two. So we'd cut the feed gears down, cut the pump body correspondingly, and fit it back up so you would have less volume of oil flowing at higher RPM, which those things you're always revving them to like 7,000 for extended periods of time. It's way before this pump, and truthfully, this pump probably came out because of Buell. Because Buells do the same thing. They'd load up with oil if you're banging on them pretty hard, which most people still do. And it's just an update to the oil system. All right, stay tuned. There'll be more.